Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Jared Moon. The Garage Gym Athlete Podcast is a result of my desire to build better humans, unequivocal coaches, and autonomous athletes. I've spent the last several years obsessing over program design, nutrition, and every other way you can optimize human performance. This podcast distills the latest scientific research with what I've learned and blends it with the not-so-scientific field of mental toughness. We are here to build you into a dangerously effective athlete. If you enjoy this podcast, you can find out more about our training at garagegymathlete.com. And if you want to pursue more into the field of coaching and programming, head to endof3fitness.com. Thanks for listening. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. Jared Moon here with Joe Courtney. What's up, Joe?
Hi, I'm here.
He's here. All right. And Barrett Robin, how you doing, man?
I'm terrific. How are you guys this morning?
We're good. I'm excited to get into this, man. I'm going to throw it to you right off the bat. You know, basic intro, who you are, what you do, where you're from, how you train, all that good stuff.
Sure. So you already got my name, Barrett Robin. I'm 33 years old. I'm a new father. My wife and I have got a almost 3-month-old boy.
Congrats.
So we're thank you very much. We've been just exploring that journey day by day. And in the pandemic times, it's been pretty nice because we already had an excuse to be home with him all day. So it's made things a little bit easier, which I guess you probably won't hear many folks say about the pandemic. But in any event, so I'm an attorney by day, part-time athlete by night and weekend. I came from a background of playing club sports growing up, and I was a 3-sport athlete in high school, and playing sports has always been important to me. It's been a big part of my life in college, after college, and in law school as well. Always played soccer, multiple teams at a time. So had a lot of running in my background. And that was something that was kind of important to me. So I played up to the time I was kind of in my mid-20s. And, at that point, I started to deal with the, some of the ravages of not being 18 anymore, not being quite as resilient. My training in the gym was, I'd say kind of helter-skelter at best, until I kind of came to Dallas, got settled, started working. I joined a gym up here that was, I wouldn't say it's a CrossFit gym, but it's a kind of community class-based gym, with a pretty rigid schedule, 3 or 4 classes a day. You can pick one to go to, kind of similar to CrossFit, but just say toned down just a little bit. And I enjoyed that a lot. It was going pretty well for me. We had fun moving big weights with the barbells, doing some plyometric work, but, wasn't seeing quite all the results that I'd been hoping for. Part of that, I'd say a large part of that was on me because I had trouble making it, to the classes on a consistent basis. I think simply because, not having much flexibility with respect to the class scheduling was just kind of an issue that I struggled with. So flash forward 3 or 4 years, it's, early 2020, and suddenly my wife and I are pregnant, and we've got the pandemic going on, and suddenly, it's the gym shut down, then it's not really safe to go. And so I made the tough decision to step away from that gym community, which has been a little bit difficult, but, certainly maintain my friendships made there, with folks that are in the neighborhood, which has been great. But, decided to try the garage gym avenue. And, I thought it made sense because of the world conditions, not being able to go to my gym. And, I had friends that had done the garage gym thing, that had built out pretty amazing setups in their garages, and, seeing their Snapchats and Instagram posts over the years, I always looked on with a little bit of envy and, a certain sense of inspiration and know that you could build something really cool in your garage. And, to me, it always seemed like a little bit of a more purposeful man cave, if you will.
Right.
And so it was just something I was attracted to, and I finally had an excuse to do it. So kind of went for it. Starting over the summer, started to accumulate some equipment, and I found Garage Gym Athlete into 3 Fitness. I guess sometime this fall, and I had been looking at it for a little while, and I decided to join up. I think right at the end of November. So I caught the very tail end of the last cycle, did a fit week, and now I'm off to the races.
That's awesome, man. And what you said, you've been accumulating some equipment. What is the garage looking like?
Sure. So if you can, brush away the paint cans and dusty old bicycles and dog kennels, and make your way over to the other side of our garage, I've got a Rogue Monster Light squat rack with a little pull-up bar at the top. I've got a Rogue Boneyard bar that I had to hunt for to find secondhand. And then I've got a good set of bumper plates, some iron, like smaller plates. And I built a platform, the plywood, multi-layer stall mats, that kind of a thing. And then I have a adjustable bench. I think that one's can't remember if it's from Titan or Rep Fitness, but that's another Facebook Marketplace pickup. And some kettlebells. Right now I'm just working with 2. I've got a light one that's like 20 pounds and a heavier one that's 50 pounds. And I think that's pretty much it. Oh, and I've got some bands as well.
You get all this
that
last year?
Covers it. Yeah.
In the middle of the pandemic, no less.
Year.
How'd you even find it all?
Wasting a lot of time on the internet, looking around. They've got all these secondhand marketplaces now. I guess back in the day it was just Craigslist, and now you've got Facebook Marketplace and OfferUp and all these other places where you can find people trying to sell their crap that they're tired of. And the tough thing right now is that because this stuff has been in such high demand the price gouging is unreal.
Right.
There's a lot of folks out there very opportunistically realizing that they can charge above retail in some instances for used items, and people will pay it right now, which is, I get it. I'm not out there doing it, but I certainly understand the motivation. So some of my stuff was used. The Rogue rack, I just had to sign up, for their alerts and wait until it became available. And after 2-3 months, it finally did. And once I put the order in, I think I had to wait about another month and a half till I got it. And so that was just, kind of paying attention to the inbox and checking the Rogue site every now and then. The bumper plates, actually found a local business. They're like a custom gym outfitter. It's actually pretty cool. Like the guy's up in Salina, which is up north of Dallas, about an hour. And he's a former like computer engineer guy that just liked gym stuff and opened his business, I think maybe 10 years ago. And, they kind of build gyms turnkey, basically everything but the building. And so he's done a bunch of cool stuff and worked with some cool, folks starting gyms. I know he helped out Clayton Kershaw with his big baseball gym up there. And so he actually had stuff in stock, and, he's a distributor for American Barbell, which I wasn't super familiar with the brand, but, found them online. His warehouse is an hour away. So, just put my order in and drove up and picked them up, and, got to gab with the guy for a little bit and kind of hear about his small business story, which is pretty entertaining. That was my pickup on the bumper plates, which I'm sure most of the folks in this community probably know that stuff is really difficult to find right now. So I think I got lucky on that. And also was just happy to find, a small local business and help support them when I have the opportunity.
That's awesome. I'm going to have to check them out. Not too far from me either. That's cool.
Yeah. Kodiak Sports.
All right. I'm going to check it out. Cool, man. So what are some of your goals right now in being a garage gym athlete?
So I've got some general goals and some specific goals. I guess a little bit of a blend. The standard, I want to look good and feel good. Those are kind of the fluffier goals. I think more specifically, I'd like to get the squat up to 405. I was there once a couple years ago, but it's been a little bit. That period between quitting my old gym and joining the GGA community was essentially a big hiatus from lifting and running and most things active for me. So I kind of took a big step back. So I'm trying to get back to where I was and really just try to continue progressing. I've got some excess body weight that I'm trying to get rid of as well. From just kind of sitting around at home and not being as active as I would otherwise like to be. And then some just kind of, mobility and I guess injury prevention type goals. I've always had pretty bad shoulders. I've separated both of them. So my overhead mobility is not great. That's something that I'm kind of working at on a daily basis. I think years in cleats may have compromised my ankles a little bit. So I'm always working on the ankle mobility too. And
I hear that.
Yeah, right. And my latest trend has been to strain either my left or my right calf pretty much every time I run. So that's been something I've been trying to work through, which is perplexing and frustrating, but making some progress. Foam rolling a lot, stretching, and just trying to work through it and get to a good baseline level of fitness. And I need to get my mile time below 8 minutes because I'm not happy with where that is right now.
Yeah. 405, get below 8. I like a good squat run goal. So I think that'd be good.
Sound familiar?
Yeah. No, I think that would be a good thing to shoot for. And if you've been there before, it's easier to get back as opposed to never having been there before. You've done a lot of, gym work, class stuff, and, pandemic made the switch to garage gym athlete. I don't know. I didn't ask, were you working in an office and then you started working from home like most everyone else, or have you always worked from home?
The former. So I was working in an office in downtown Dallas, pretty easy commute. And then, it's a big office, and pretty much the entire building shut down. I think I want to say it was at the end of February, maybe early March. We switched to remote work, and there were a couple of attempts by management to bring us back into the office. And each time it just didn't work. Started to have COVID cases in the office, and, the powers that be decided that it wasn't worth it yet. And fortunately we had the infrastructure in place to be able to work from home. So, my day to day, it looks a lot different, but in terms of getting the work done, it's pretty much the same capability. Yeah.
So that's a lot of changes, man. In a pretty short amount of time. How did you adjust to that, especially on the fitness side of things? Because if we just go big picture here, you're a lawyer, you went from working in an office in downtown Dallas to going to home. You left your gym and you started a garage gym, and then also 3 months ago had a baby. So, how has that been, just trying to juggle all those things? Because I think that's what a lot of, all of us struggle with is juggling. Like, how do you feel like you're juggling it all?
Some days I feel like I'm keeping everything up in the air. Others days I feel like I'm, picking up one ball after another. Fortunately, none of them have broken yet. but I think a lot of it is just, kind of being realistic with yourself. When I was going into the office every day, it was a lot easier. And obviously before the baby got here, it was a lot easier to be a little bit more regimented. And so I think a big part of it is just kind of a combination of realism and resilience and kind of, not being too hard on yourself. I think it's real easy to have very lofty goals in terms of, I'm going to do this from this time to this time to this time to this time. But, like you said, it's been a lot of changes stacking up on each other. And kind of what I've just tried to do is prioritize the really important things, make sure that they get done, have a rough idea of when I'm going to do them. And, to not beat myself up too much if it doesn't get done, at the time that I originally intended. And, case in point, the workouts, obviously fitness is a priority for me. But there are other priorities that come first. So, if I don't get my Meet Yourself Saturday done on Saturday, that dog just got let in from outside. So you might hear my lab tap dancing around on the wood floors. But yeah, so like case in point, if I miss a workout, I do it the next day, and just try not to get too bogged down in the details. I mean, the details are important, but you got to keep the big picture in mind and just continue to move forward. And, I'm trying to see every little bit of progress as a positive thing. And anything that gets in the way of that, it's a minor adversity and you kind of just move past it, keep going.
When you were commuting, I'm sure you had because of work schedule and then you did classes. So you had class time. So that was kind of like your given workout time. Have you now, but at home, do you have your set time just to keep with that same routine of hey, this is when the class time was, so I'm just going to work out now? Or is it just well, crap, I think I got 45 minutes at this time right now, so I guess I'm going to go do it?
Joe, that's a good question. I think aspirationally, yes, I would like to get to the point to where I have the set time. That's where I do it every day. But we're not there yet.
I'm not there yet.
My wife. That really makes you feel better.
No, I work out. It happens. I've talked about this before. Working out happens. I don't skip it. Very rare that I skip it. But when it happens, that can be all over the map.
Yeah. Yeah. So we were, my wife and I were actually kind of just talking about scheduling the workouts. It was last night or a couple nights ago. We were getting ready to go to bed and we're kind of just trying to plan out rough scheduling. And, I was remarking on the fact that we'd had a couple of nights where our son slept in a really big chunk of time, which was really exciting for us. We're like, oh my God, he slept for 7 hours. Whoa.
Yeah.
And, I was just looking back on, when we first moved up here and I was, I guess 25, 26 years old, or no, even older than that. But in any event, we were married, no kids, we're up here, and I was going to my gym at 5 a.m. I was doing the 5 a.m. class, getting up at 4:30, sometimes 4:15 to go make that. And oftentimes I wasn't going to bed till midnight. And so I was just cruising through the weeks on 3.5, 4 hours of sleep a night. And now I've got to the point where I don't know how I did that. I feel tired now all the time and I'm sleeping more than that, albeit it's a little bit more broken up. But that's something that I think maybe didn't affect me so much 4 or 5 years ago, but it's starting to affect me more now. So I've been trying to prioritize that a little bit. But ideally I'd love to get to the point where I can get back into the routine of, getting up at 5:30, 6 o'clock, go out, knock the workout, come back, have my coffee, breakfast, and then, get to work. But right now it's not happening at this point. We've got, our scheduling with the baby is a little bit, helter skelter at this point still. And so we're always trying to adapt with him and kind of how he's sleeping, and make sure that we're kind of covering for each other. So yeah, realistically now, sometimes I'll go out and I'll work out early, say 8, 9 a.m. Other times it's, more in the 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock hour. Those have kind of been the two windows primarily when I've been hitting the workouts. But, the goal is to become a little bit more regimented as life begins to normalize a little bit more. So I'm hopeful and optimistic, but trying to stay realistic and, kind of like Jared said, just get the workout done whenever, whenever I can.
Yeah. I wonder often why I'm like that. And it could be just 3 kids has given me that habit, because it'd be like, oh, last night didn't go as planned. I'm not working out this morning. And then something might happen to where I can't do it in the afternoons. I have to do it in the evening. So yeah, I think there is just a lot of flexibility there, but just getting it done is going to be the most important part. But at 3 months, man, 3 months old, whatever you can do is
no
awesome.
plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, what's the hardest workout you've ever done?
I was struggling to come up with an answer to this question, because I've had some grinders over the years, but really one that has never kind of escaped my memory is back when I was playing club soccer. I think I was either in like 8th or 9th grade. So this is a throwback. But the way that season works is you have your tryouts in July. The season starts either end of August, early September. So you'd always have like a ton of conditioning work to do late July and August. And I'll never forget, we had like a hell week with this one club that I was on. And we had a workout where we went to the UTA football stadiums, University of Texas, Arlington. I don't even think they have a football team anymore, but they did at the time. They have a stadium, and it's one of those where it's got, a short side for the visitors and a tall side, for the home crowd. And the workout was basically just running those stadium steps until we died, basically. And it's kind of deal where it was up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, all the way across. And I can't remember how many times we did it, but I still remember, once we got through the first cycle, we got down at the bottom and it was like time for a water break or whatever. And I just remember my legs were just shaking, just like tremors. I was like, man, like, I don't think I can do that again. And we were kind of all in the same boat. And then our coach basically told us to sack up and get running. And so we did it again and again and again. And, I had that feeling after the first cycle. And I mean, I want to say we probably went through it 10 times. So it was kind of one of those deals where you get into it and, it's really physically and mentally taxing because it seemed like you couldn't get it done. And then, then you just grind it out. I know that I couldn't do that kind of workout right now. I think I would probably get hurt or maybe keel over. But I still think that there are kind of some of the same mental thoughts that come through sometimes with some of the harder workouts when, you feel like you're going to crest the hill and you're not quite sure if you can make it. And then you just kind of keep grinding it out and get it done. But the stadium runs that one time, I think that's the workout that has stuck with me over the years.
Stadium ones are great. I used to go test max heart rate at stadiums. Felt like it's the best place. And
yeah, probably.
So never a great memory on a stadium for workouts. Now, in your opinion, what's the best activity for building mental toughness?
I mean, surely this answer's got to change for everybody. I mean, for me, I think it's a moving target, right? sometimes it's a really hard workout. Other times it's a really hard project at work. I really think it's kind of just anything that challenges your physical or intellectual capabilities. Something that causes you to have a little bit of self-doubt, enough to where you're not sure if you can do it, and then you just grind it out. And I think it's kind of just this idea of overcoming adversity, and whether that's something physical like running stadium steps, or or if I've got a difficult case that I'm working on with a complex issue, and it takes me a long time to kind of figure it out and come up with a strategy and get it done. But I know that's kind of a non-answer, but I feel like it's really just anything that that you're not sure that you can actually pull it off, and then you just kind of make it happen. And I think the more times that you do that in life, the more self-confidence that you're going to have, the more resilience and grit that you're going to build. And certainly that looks different for everybody. And I think it's a question of degree and a question of circumstances, whether that's going to be a work thing, or a dealing with difficult stuff in your family life or your personal life, or just like Ronnie Coleman would say, lifting some heavy ass weight. I mean, it looks different. And for me, I think it's a moving target. It changes. So I try to just continue to challenge myself, in all areas of my life. And, when I start to have that little voice that's questioning whether I can get something done, I just kind of, say, no, you're wrong. You can't do this, and just continue to put one foot in front of the other and keep going.
I love it, man. Now, if you could only have one piece of equipment to train with for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh man. Shake weight? No. Probably a kettlebell. There you go. Yeah. Probably a heavy kettlebell, maybe something a little bit heavier than what I've got right now. I've done a lot of kettlebell only workouts, because I've had my 50-pound bell since 2013. And that's, it's a piece of equipment that takes no maintenance. You can beat the crap out of it. It'll beat the crap out of you. It keeps going. It's portable, and you can do a whole bunch of stuff with it. I mean, Turkish get-ups, swings, snatches, presses, curls, deadlifts, you name it. I also like kind of the unilateral aspect of it. I love moving a heavy barbell, but I think there's something to, having your weight on one side and having to balance it a little bit. So yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to go with the kettlebell. And if I've never used an adjustable one, but if there's like a good option for an adjustable kettlebell that goes maybe from like 20 to 120 pounds, that would be the piece right there.
That would be intense if that was actually a thing.
That's the desert island gym for me.
Don't they have adjustable kettlebells? I just don't know how heavy they go.
I think it's just like 20 to 50 or something like that. Like they can't go all that heavy, because you have to put it's almost like you just stack another 5-pound plate and screw it in. You can only stack so many 5-pound plates.
Yeah, I've seen those, and they've got ones now too that it's like a handle that you clip on to a dumbbell, which in theory looks pretty sweet. But I feel like if I was doing that with a heavier dumbbell, I would probably bash it into my shins or knees, while trying to do a swing. It seems like it would be unwieldy in its shape. But yeah, man, those Russians, good call coming up with the kettlebell. That's a great piece of equipment.
They crushed it.
So if you could add something to your gym, what would it be? You might just talked about it.
Well, yeah, I guess more kettlebells is one thing. I've got to get some kind of good cardio piece of equipment. We got a treadmill like early in the pandemic, picked up, I don't even remember what the brand is. It's like Lifespan or something, more like an entry level one. And I've found that when I run on it, the belt slips and it feels like it's maybe about to come apart at the seams. So I would love to have something a little bit more heavy duty for my cardio, preferably something that is not running. So whether that's a rower or, an Airdyne or Echo bike or whatever, I think one of those two will probably be the next big ticket item, just because running is hard and terrible for me. So I'd rather be pedaling or rowing. So yeah, one of those guys.
I used to always say that I think the rower is probably the best, but now I've kind of gone over to the bike. I think a bike is best for the most wide variety of everything that you could do, because like 30, 40 minutes zone 2 on a bike, yeah, you can do that. Can't really do that. I mean, you can do it on a rower, but it's going to be kind of much more awful.
My pro with the rower and the Airdyne is the full body,
Yeah.
That's
harder or better for shorter intervals.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, man. Go ahead.
And I was going to say that we had rowers at my old gym, and we'd use them a lot for, whether it was warm-ups or we would do 2,000 meter tests. And the thing that I always found really challenging with them was figuring out how in the hell you're supposed to breathe like mid-stroke. I could never figure out when to inhale and exhale. So I would love to, give that another shot. But yeah, the air bikes are killer. We do short intervals on those. Never tried, like zone 2 type cardio on that, but I think it would be interesting. But yeah, the full body aspect of both of those is just awesome.
I mean, what's your best advice for all the garage gym athletes out there listening right now?
Just go for it. Just do what you can. Whether it's, starting off with like a no equipment track, or, if you can only get a half hour at a time, do 3 block. It's easy to see all these crazy garage gyms like on social media, and they look really sweet. And people are posting their pictures to make them look really cool. And it's easy to get caught up in that and think that you need it for every bit. But I mean, you can get fit without all that stuff, and you don't need it, and it's expensive. But if you love it and you can do it, you can work up to that point, which I think is kind of a related tip is, kind of wade in before you jump off the deep end, because I'm sure there are tens of thousands of people out there that spend a whole bunch of money on a bunch of equipment, and then they find out they don't really like working out at home. They can't separate their home life from their fitness, and they need the loud music or the camaraderie or whatever it is that a Globo gym or CrossFit gym or whatever it is offers you. So yeah, I mean, I'd say, get started today, but start at a place that makes sense for you, and just keep going day after day, and figure out what works for you.
Awesome. Well, Barrett, I appreciate your time today, man, and for sharing everything that you did, and for being a garage gym athlete. I really do appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah, well, thank you guys for having me and for pushing out all the good content. I really enjoy hearing these interviews. The studies and all that stuff are really good too, but it's cool to hear from the other folks in the community. And it's funny, you get engaged in the GGA Facebook group, and you see some of the same faces and names, and then you hear them on the podcast, and it's cool to, kind of get that community aspect from what would otherwise be strangers. And I think you guys said it well recently on one of these editions. It's like internet friends. And so it's cool. It's cool to hear everyone's story. And, some of you guys are crazy. I don't get how you do that BCT stuff. That stuff scares me to think about. But
with your goals, I think you're a prime candidate.
Right.
Oh man, can we do a retake from the beginning? No, but yeah, guys, it's awesome. I appreciate y'all having me on, and thanks for everything that you do. It's been really solid program so far. Really looking forward to finishing up this first full cycle, see what I do in this second fit week, and just keep moving forward.
Thanks for listening to the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. If you want to learn more, go to garagegymathlete.com. You can learn about our training. Let us send you a copy of our book, The Garage Gym Athlete, or you can even get featured on the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. Thanks for listening.